would you do if you found out that a high school official made racist comments regularly? Well, the Texas Association of Sports Officials decided not to do too much, apparently. I'm sure you read in today's Chronicle a story about said official, who's one of the top officials in high school football in the state of Texas. He was suspended for just 2 weeks of the season and a couple of playoff games at the end of the season for saying this.
I went to the mixer the other day. Bunch of wanting a free meal. But he would find a way to it up. There probably was some of them ads that thought he had because he wanted to be the big.
The person using the N-word on multiple occasions there is Mike Atkinson, a 45-year veteran high school football official who's arguably the top referee in Houston and among the best in the state. These recordings were made by an unnamed source, and they surfaced in a lawsuit against the Texas Association of Sports Officials, or TASO, by another referee, Joe McCall. McCall has accused the organization of mistreatment. McCall's lawyers Kathleen O'Connor and Bruce Lloyd told Houston Sports Show that they were stunned by the racist language uncovered in their investigation.
I had not heard the type of language I was listening to on these TASO recordings. I had not heard that type of language in 50 years. And for me to hear that language was like opening a time capsule and going back and taking me back to the little rural town in Mississippi where I grew up when African Americans were fighting for their rights. The Civil Rights Act had just been passed. It took me back that far. I was stunned by what I heard, and it's not acceptable, and whoever is responsible for saying those type of things, and whoever is responsible for not doing anything about it, needs to be removed from TASO.
After state and federal lawsuits were filed, TASO finally got around to suspending Atkinson. He was told on Monday that he would be suspended for the first 2 weeks and the last 3 weeks of this coming football season, meaning he wouldn't be able to referee a state championship game, which his crew does regularly. O'Connor says that is too little, too late.
The punishment doesn't fit the crime, number one, but number two, it is so unevenly distributed among these men that whole system needs to change. Obviously, the man who is making the remarks needs to be completely removed. He needs to be expelled. He doesn't need to get senior status or lifetime membership. He needs to be completely expelled.
O'Connor and Lloyd say this all began when Joe McCall, who had been the game clock operator with the NFL since the Texans began play in 2002, beat out Atkinson by 1 vote in a race to be the president of the Houston chapter of TASO. In his lawsuit, McCall asserts that Atkinson met with state leaders of the organization and went on a, quote, racist tirade about not enough white members showing up to vote and how the South Side N-words voted for McCall and not him. When I talked to Atkinson on Saturday, he denied being involved in that South Side N-word conversation as described in the lawsuit. He did, however, admit that he was the one on the tapes and the recordings that you heard earlier. He did use the N-word several times in those conversations, but he said he thought they were private conversation. He was joking around with a friend who was also using the N-word, and he apologized for having done so.
Well, it's important for a number of reasons. Number one, just because of the society that we live in, it shouldn't be tolerated. But number two, and more importantly, I think from our perspective, is that he cannot be unbiased on the field. And in any close call that may occur between an African-American player and a non-African-American player, it would call into judgment his call.
McCall's attorneys are questioning TASO's call and posting a memo from Executive Director Michael Fitch, reaffirming the organization's code of conduct and assuring its members that it would address racially insensitive comments made by any member in the strongest possible terms. Fitch's letter to members, which was posted on April the 4th, noted Atkinson's claim that his comments were in jest.
That is condoning the behavior. That is not calling out the behavior. That is not telling the other members of the Houston chapter, which is probably 50% African-American officials. I think it is a slap in the face to them that he did not come out with a stronger condemnation and just a no-tolerance policy and an example of what will happen to you if you do it.
Our theory is they've been doing what they want to do without consideration for others. for decades. And so why stop now? And so the language they're using now is probably the same language that was being used in the 60s and the 70s. Nothing's changed. It appears to be a good old boy fiefdom. We do what we want to do, and don't you dare cross us or question us.
Lauren Leal's wardrobe is courtesy of Luxington Boutique. Luxury shopping without the luxury price tag. Visit Luxington Boutique. More from Houston Sports Show coming up right after the break.